Why, oh why, did I want to go to Guam? I have been married for the past 10 years and recently divorced. This guy was hiding a lot of things, and even the mother, when I was on the phone with her, she's like, oh my god, like another cousin of ours did the same thing, and she kicked him out of the house. I was trying to help him out with this addiction. It's possibly gonna get demonetized. Hey babes. It's me, Mila Rose. Gosh, I can't believe I'm filming this, and yeah, it has been about a full year now since the last time I've appeared here on my YouTube channel, plus divorce costs that he wasn't gonna pay a penny for. And I kinda am filming this video very sporadically on a whim, but I wanted to update you guys on what's been going on with me because it's been a lot. It's been hefty, and I think you might forgive me after I tell you everything that I've been going through since basically a year. So let's get right into a little bit of backstory of what this video is regards to. Back in August, I was doing some Wine Wednesdays with one of my friends, Joe Mama, and I also did a Tea Tuesday with my friend Siren Verde. That was the last time I remember feeling possibly the happiest I've been in my life. Honestly, I had everything situated. I was so happy with my career. I was so happy with my finances. I was so happy with my friendship groups. I was so happy with life in general. The only thing that wasn't really going well, and I was trying to work on improving in my life, was, drumroll please, my 10-year marriage. Yes, that's right. I was married for 10 years. No longer am, spoiler alert. But I basically discovered a lot of things pretty much right after that Tea Tuesday video that I filmed with Siren Verde. To give a little bit of backstory on this whole marriage, I know you guys have been asking me some questions that have been burning and you really want to know the answers to them, and I promised you story times that would lead up to answering all those questions that you had. One of those questions being, why, oh why, did I want to go to Guam? And I never fully told you why yet. I was gonna get there. I swear I was gonna get there. I was gonna continue my YouTube story times, and eventually I was gonna get there. But then this stuff happened, and my whole workflow just came to a dying halt. Mainly because I was super depressed. I was really struggling emotionally and mentally, and then I was really, really busy, and I've been really, really busy. It's only until like now, genuinely the last couple of weeks, that I feel I can kind of breathe and regulate my workflow and really just start to feel like I can live again kind of normally. The question that you had for me about why I wanted to go to Guam, yeah, I wanted to go because I was in love. I was in love. I wanted to go meet this guy that was the man I fell in love with playing League of Legends with we were friends for about a year, and then we were online dating for about a year. We were doing a lot of Skype video calls. We were still playing League of Legends with the group, and we were watching movies and all kinds of things. And then eventually I went to go see him. He at that time was in the military, stationed in Guam, and I knew, like both of us knew, that we were going to try to make that like a legitimate relationship. So I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna need a green card, because otherwise I can't, be with you. I was thinking very realistically and logically. I'm gonna answer another question I know a lot of you guys have for me right now is no, I did not move to America to be with this guy for papers. No. Every single Canadian that I know thinks of Americans as, let's just say, not the best. light on Americans, and I honestly really didn't want to lose my healthcare, which I did. I lost my free healthcare moving from Canada to America, and honestly, it was a big loss for me rather than a gain for me to move from Canada to America. So no, I did not do it for papers. I did it for love. And I didn't really have anything to lose. I had a couple of really good friends, a few really good friends in like 3, 4 super close friends, even post all the drama that I went through in Toronto. And then again, you guys kind of know a little bit of my backstory. Family-wise, I didn't really have any reason to stay. So I did move to Guam, got married, got a green card, and I pursued content creation because after I finished college, I could not work in America because I was pending a green card. So I started doing content creation because he wanted to get out of the military, went through the whole school system, it was like a 5-year thing. I'm going to be very brief on details here because I want to cover a little bit more. So just to give you some backstory, I have been married for the past 10 years and recently divorced and no longer with this guy. Also, no longer in Texas or Houston, but we'll move that to the side for now. Discovery. I discovered what this guy was up to, and I can't go into all of the fine details right now because if I told you what this guy was doing in this video, it's possibly gonna get demonetized. So I am totally cool with going into detail on what I discovered just in a different video. So I will go to some of the details though. This guy was hiding a lot of things for several years that I did not know he was doing. It included infidelity, and it also included racking up a lot of debt. And when I see a lot of debt, I mean like probably a good $30,000 to $40,000 honestly in debt, probably, from no debt to like 40 grand in debt. This is my guess based on what I saw, because this guy wasn't going to tell me anything. I had to go do my own research, snooping, aka. But again, I had immense trust for this guy 10 years into our relationship, and then I found out all this stuff. I know all you guys are gonna be like, oh, well, how did you not see the signs? I've been through this with friends. I've been through this with our marriage therapist. By the way, we were in marriage therapy for a good year or two before I even discovered all of this. And now I'm actually seeing this therapist virtually because she knows me really well and I think she's really good at her job. So she's actually been helping me every few weeks. So it's been really nice. But no signs. There were no signs that this guy was hiding anything. Legitimately, like, I can't think of a single thing. I mean, so many things make sense now, but at the time that I was in the relationship, I can't think of a single thing that would have clued me in that this guy was being incredibly, just hiding a lot of things that were not okay. And it makes sense because I remember around Thanksgiving, we did go see his family, and one of the things that his brother said, his younger brother, was he's the best liar in the family. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured that by now after everything I've discovered. Anywho, I started discovering everything pretty much after I got back from New Mexico with Siren Verde, post that Tea Tuesday that I filmed with her, and then I did get clued in that something was weird and something was off, and that clued me into more. And then I had a minor discovery, and then that minor discovery led me to I knew there was more, basically, and he wasn't gonna tell me, and so I snooped and I found out so much more throughout like mid-September towards the end of October. And during this time, I had so many friends that were really supportive, so don't get me wrong, like, I wasn't going through this alone. Joe Mama was there, Siren Berry was there, amongst other friends that I had that were really helping with me out. And I actually ended up staying with Siren Berry for a good 2 weeks in New Mexico, early November, to give my husband space because that's what he wanted. And I was trying to help him out with this addiction that he had, and that's about as much as I'm going to really word it for the time being. But Siren Verdes, she has more experience and knowledge about addiction, and her partner, and they were helping me so much, you know, talking me through what he might be experiencing and going through, and what that might mean for me, and what I can do, and just being there to support me. I really needed that so much. And I also, they encouraged me to reach out and tell the parents, and I did. And I also updated my therapist as to everything that was going on when I got back from that 2-week trip in New Mexico. I told her everything, and even she was like, wow, he is a really good liar. And like she even knew him and I for a good 2 years. And every single time in therapy, like, I was the one who pushed for therapy, okay? I was there trying to actively work on the marriage. And he allegedly did too. And every time we were in session, he would always break down in tears. And then when we went, I was somehow able to convince this guy to go into therapy I had this solo appointment with my therapist to tell her everything that had been going on. And when we came back in together, I don't know how I was able to convince him to do this, but he did. He was like, I will go to therapy for like, he agreed to it. He went in by himself. Like, I went for like the first 5 minutes, and then I left, and then he was in there with the therapist. And when he came out, like, he was pissed. Like, he looked so pissed, like a kid that just got caught. And lots of gaslighting, 100%, so much gaslighting happened. He definitely flipped a lot of things on me, and he was rejecting and all of this stuff while hiding everything that he was doing that now I understand. But it was just so crazy because I didn't have any signs of what he was doing, and then all of a sudden I got clued in, and then all of a sudden I knew everything. It felt like whiplash, honestly, between September and November. Now, mid-November, Thanksgiving, his family were already scheduled to come in for Thanksgiving. We were gonna have Thanksgiving at my house. And my husband at the time, his birthday was around the same time as Thanksgiving, so we celebrated both at the same time. The parents, I actually had made a phone call while I was in New Mexico with my friend, Siren Verdes. She was like holding my hand while I was in tears, telling them everything that was going on. And they basically were navigating this, or trying to help navigate this between the two of us. But the dad was just like, you can't just keep trying to make this work. Like, eventually you're just gonna have to let this go. Like, he's like done all these things. And even the mother, when I was on the phone with her, she's like, oh my god, like another cousin of ours did the same thing and she kicked him out of the house. And I'm like, geez. And she's like, I'm shocked that you haven't done that, because like even after all of this I realized, oh my god, like this is a really bad addiction. He's really struggling. I still want to be there and love him and support him. So that was where I was at around Thanksgiving. And then closer to December is when I recognized that this was not okay, and I could not try to make this work, because I realized just how deep in the addiction he was. And everyone was telling me, like, you need to get out, you need to make a strategy. And even when I was like, sure, I can, I had a lease that wasn't expiring for another 1.5 years. And to break that lease would mean that I would have to sacrifice $2,000 practically of security. My rent was like $1,750 or like $1,700 a month. And so I would have to sacrifice the security deposit. It was like almost $2,000, and 2 months rent. That's like almost $6,000 or $5,500. Like, that's so much money that I would just be throwing out, plus divorce costs that he wasn't going to pay a penny for. even though he was fully employed at this time for the past 3 years, fully employed, he didn't save a penny. In fact, he was spending some of my earnings that were being paid into his PayPal account that I told him explicitly to save. He wasn't saving a penny of that. It was just going to his addiction. And again, that's as much as I'm going to say in this video, but I can talk more in a future video of what exactly he was doing, and I do plan on filming that, so don't worry, it's coming. But essentially, December, after I talked to enough of my friends, I was convinced that I was not going to last a year and a half waiting for this lease to end while living with him with his addiction. It just wasn't going to work. It wasn't gonna work. It wasn't realistic, and it's like, why delay even a few months when I would have to spend the exact same amount of money anyway to break the lease, whether it was today or 3 months from today, you know what I mean? So I did have some travel plans situated for January, and that time away really helped me in more ways than one, but definitely make the final decision that I was going to go through with this divorce sooner than later and break the lease. Luckily with this guy, it was a very clean and simple divorce. I literally got back. It was honestly the strangest thing ever how he even approached me and everything, but again, like, I'm gonna go through all of those details in a different video because otherwise this video is just gonna be too long, and also just won't be able to so many terms of service would probably get flagged if I told you everything that he was doing. But I get back to Houston after this trip. This final decision, I'm getting a divorce and I want to break the lease and I want to move out. And I had already had the conversation with him too that we should, for each of our sakes, let the other person know closer to a 3-month period. Like, just let that person know, hey, I want a divorce, gonna break the lease, but let's, you know, give each other 3 months to know that that's gonna happen so that we have time to prepare. So it's not like a sudden freak out, oh my god, what am I gonna do, where am I gonna live, that kind of situation. I didn't want that for myself, I didn't want that for him, but at the same time I really lost trust with this guy. Wonder why. So I think even though I asked for this, I wasn't so sure he would have actually reciprocated that. Potentially not. Regardless, doesn't matter. I got back and I let him know that weekend that I wanted a divorce, pretty much the day after, because I got back really late at night. And he was upset, but he agreed to go through with it. And I asked for the lease to be broken as well, and that it would be broken, I believe, at the end of April is when I asked. So I got back towards the end of January and I asked for the lease to be broken at the end of April. And luckily too, the split of everything was really simple, straightforward as well. I didn't really want to take too much with me. Everything in the house was purchased by me and my hard work and my efforts, so it honestly bothers me that, like, I would even have to do an equal fair split, but whatever. I was still thinking in regards to, let's make this as fair and equal as possible, even though he contributed like nothing. So I was like, hey, I'm taking the dogs. One, they're both under my name, and we both agreed that the dogs could not be split up. They love each other so much, and if they're both under my name, it makes sense that I would at least get one, and if I'm at least getting one, I'm getting both. And he also knows that he would not try to separate those two dogs. He also loved and cared about those dogs. He's not a psychopath, I don't think. I don't know. So he wouldn't have wanted to separate those dogs either. So I got the dogs. I took a bunch of stuff that were sentimental value to me, important to me. Furniture wise, I only took my double desk, which hasn't even been set up yet. It might not get set up for a while, as well as my entertainment system. and my laundry machines and my king mattress and my TV. That's pretty much all I took in terms of furniture. Everything else got left behind. I don't know what he ended up doing with them. I don't really care what he ended up doing with everything else, but I let him know I have movers coming towards mid-April, and I asked him to not be in the house during that day so I could just like efficiently get everything done, and he agreed. And I spent a lot of February and March prepping for this, because I also was me doing a lot of traveling that spring and summer too, so I wanted to make sure I was really caught up with my content first and foremost, but I also had to pack. So I was going between packing to editing to filming on rotation, on repeat, like a literal hamster running in a wheel for days on end, for weeks on end, until this whole process was finalized on move date pretty much. So it was really, really exhausting. I was really, really busy. And not to mention, like, between September and December, like towards the end of November, I was really mentally and emotionally strained, and I could hardly function. I was mainly just going through thoughts in my head and trying to figure out, I blamed myself for everything, and I was trying to figure out everything that I did wrong, and I was trying to figure out how I could have done better, what I needed to learn. And so I really did a lot of like self-reflection during those months. And then December was okay, I need to break up and divorce and separate, but I don't know if I can do that so soon. And then January, it was like, yes, I'm gonna do this as soon as possible. And I'm glad I did, because considering the fact that it's almost September, that was when I was considering my early out of breaking the lease, mainly because I didn't want to do a whole move in the thick of summer in Houston, because I was originally gonna stay in Houston just because rent's much cheaper and I was developing friendship groups there. So I didn't necessarily want to move in the blazing heat, if that makes sense. So September was going to be my early out, and I can't imagine having stayed with this guy, staying in that house for like a year after I even discovered everything that was going on. It was bonkers. It was a roller coaster ride. And again, like, even after I situated and the dogs got situated towards the end of April, like, I'm so glad that they are doing well now. They did take a bit of time to adjust because I'm in an apartment now. They're so used to having a backyard, and I'm in a different state now. I'm in California, so the atmosphere, like, it's just very different, and they had never had that kind of a separation before, like family split. It was really, really hard on them, I could tell, and stressful. So I'm really glad that they are doing so much better now. They're thriving. They're doing amazing. I'll bet some other stuff that ended up happening over the summer, the spring, actually June, but I may or may not go into that story time too soon. I think that's about as much as I'm going to share on that topic for right now. I've been traveling a lot. I've been really busy with that, and I also started studying to get a nutrition coaching certificate. No, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop making content. I do plan on continuing to make content for many, many years to come, more than likely, but I did want to start branching outside of the industry and not just be in content creation. So that is a big reason why I'm studying right now, but you don't need to worry. I'm not gonna go anywhere, because I know that's probably your biggest fear right now is, oh no, she's trying to get out of the industry. Yes and no. I'm trying to branch out. I'm not trying to end anything currently. Although I will say, a lot of you guys have been asking, when are you gonna go back on Twitch? I don't know if I will ever, but that doesn't mean I won't ever, but the chances are very slim, let's just put it that way. I've been so busy, I've had to stop a lot of the things that I used to do for my brand, but I decided that it's only fair to keep my audience in the loop about what's been going on with me and where I'm at, and just to give you that interaction, know like A, I'm okay, and B, just everything that's going on. So can be a little hangout chat. I have some tea here that I haven't even sipped on at all because I was so busy just chatting with you guys. But I wanted to break this down into a few videos just because, one, length, it's already like over 25 minutes long, and two, some of the details are not all that appropriate. So I will go more into details about the discovery and everything that was going on with the whole addiction process, divorce process, move process, all of that. I want to go into details on that, and also let you guys know what I've been up to because I've been so busy and it's been like a year and you guys don't really know what I've been doing. And yes, I've been releasing content, but I haven't even been releasing as much content or as fast and often as I used to. Something just fell and I'm gonna go check out what that was. But regardless, I'm gonna end the video here and I will jump into the next video shortly so I can give you an update as to, well, I can go through all of the details as to what that divorce process was like and the discovery process and all of that, because it was bonkers, crazy, whiplash, emotional roller coaster, physical roller coaster, everything you can ever think of. It was crazy. So hope you enjoyed this update. Hope you are relieved to know, one, I'm back to making YouTube content, and two, that you'll be seeing more of me very soon. Anyway, see you till next time.